minute, late night, early morning, mid-afternoon game. I have some Oceania folks here. I got someone from Japan. I got another guy from the US. I'm from the US also. And we are trying to have a little fun before the day gets past us or beyond us. So I've set up a little one shot and I have the crew with me. And I'm going to go down the list and kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little teeny bit about your character. So let's start with Poopsmith.
Hello, I'm Baufrin. I stream on Twitch on Tuesdays at 8 Eastern Time. That was the obligatory plug. But I am playing Squire Valius. The knight that I serve isn't present at the moment, but I've gotten off onto my own adventure here. And I'm looking forward to see what kind of trouble we can get into.
All right, Calchas.
All right, I will take all my plugs out and throw them away. Don't need them. I am playing Centaurus. He is a centaur. You can kind of tell by the name. He's very friendly. He's going to maybe sometime during this stream I'll let someone ride on my back and we'll do some cool stuff.
All right. Os.
G'day, I'm playing Zamus. He's a barbarian, level 3, and got a bit of a drinking problem apparently.
And next we have Rilvas.
I'm Rilvas. I'm located in Okinawa, Japan. I'm playing Laerun, a half-elf ranger, because I just want to be like Laerun.
And last but
my
not
hero.
least, the MapHatter, aka Chris McDermott. Okay, so Chris is he is either AFK or he's good to stay silent for now.
No, I can hear you, man. It just
Yeah, you broke up and went out.
Okay, so go ahead, Chris. Introduce yourself a little bit.
Hey everyone, how you doing? My name's Chris, aka MapHatter. I'm gonna be playing a druid today. Never played a druid before. Basically, I can change shape, and I have a pet owl named Percival.
Cool. All right, so we're gonna get started. The scenario here is that you guys have been tracking through this dry wasteland for a couple days, running very low on water. The druid Tristal has ascertained that there is some moisture or water within this large group of rocks. In this particular area, there is a shallow descent where it goes down into a cavern-like structure. It looks fairly well dug out. At one time, it looks like it may have been a riverbed, and this might have been a volcanic lava tube or something like that. Over the centuries, it's been eroded, and there is some foliage and some small succulent plants that are growing along the edges of the rock. Quite a bit of iron in the rock, and it looks like with the amount of vegetation and the growth around here and the patina that's on the rocks, there's definitely some water nearby, according to Tristal. So you guys are on the hunt looking for water, and this seems to be the best place to find it. You have a camp nearby a few miles away. Your survival skills, your lack of water, and your quest for something to do out of boredom is to come here and help Tristal gather some of the water. All of your skins are almost empty. You have possibly another swig of water, and then you'll be done for the day and for the rest of your life if you don't find water. So, without further ado, we have this big, large cavern. It is about 38 degrees Celsius, or close to 100 or so in Fahrenheit. It is a dry heat. There is a very subtle breeze blowing from the west, and you can smell kind of a, I don't know, kind of a pungent kind of a lightly stinky kind of smell coming from the cave. It doesn't smell like dead animal or anything like that. It smells almost like a mildew. And where there's mildew, there has to be water. So that is where you are going to start, is on the entranceway of this particular cavern that leads down into the rock. It appears to have a gentle slope, and it arches back into a large open mouth cave, which does have a couple stalagmites and stalactites hanging or jutting out from the soil. So at one time, there must have been water in this area. So we start with Tristal. You have arrived at this location. It is midday. It is hotter than hell, and you guys are looking for water.
This seems to be our best bet. We should go forth. Everybody stay back. I shall test the ground for water.
Okay. So do you want to move? Would you like to make a nature check, or would you like to stay put? Obviously move, okay.
Tristal's going to edge forward, sort of gently shoving the others out of his way as he moves toward this large rock, which he's spotted has some kind of moss or lichen on it, and he's going to examine it carefully and see if he can determine where the water may have fallen from.
Okay.
Being a desert, it's probably not rain, so it is likely a water source nearby.
Okay. So go ahead and roll a nature check in the dice tower, please. So you guys watch the druid kind of scamper over to this big boulder. You place your hands on the rock and kind of lightly trace your hands over the edges, and the rock is kind of worn out. There are some sharp edges, but they're rounded off from many years of wind and erosion. However, on this side where you are facing, there is a small amount of lichen and like a mold that had grown on here and had dried. So perhaps at one time this may have been a big, large lake reservoir, and this rock apparently had been underwater for quite some time. Um, you're really not positive of how many thousands of years it's sat here, but it has to be at least over 1,000 years old. So that is what you gain from the rock. There are some stains on it that are very indicative of water being present.
Okay, so with a very determined look in his eye, Tristal's going to carefully scrape off some of the lichen, sniff it, touch it to his tongue, and then eat it.
Okay. So go ahead and roll a investigation check in the dice tower. Upon investigation, you notice that this stuff has been around for quite some time. It has a kind of a very dry, metallic taste. It has kind of leached some of the iron into it, so it has a very irony kind of mineral taste to it. And the lichen, or the dried growth on it, seems to have been dry for quite some time. So this material isn't moist or anything like that. It's been dried for quite a while. As a matter of fact, it's kind of blended in with some of the patina on the rock.
Tristal looks toward the other group, who are probably watching him, and shakes his head. No, must keep going. Further in, I say.
So would you like to do anything else, Tristal?
Yeah, Tristal will move toward here and start examining this.
The picture or the clues are the same. There are lots of ruts that are along the length, running horizontally, and there are several layers of soil So from just that alone, you can tell that at one time water had flowed through here. And it may have been a situation where this was all underwater. And as the water eroded and evaporated over time, the levels of the water had changed. So you can see the different marks in the soil and in the rocks where the sediment had settled along the edges of the stone. So there's a lot of loose rock on the outside that looks fairly recent, perhaps some earthquakes, which isn't very likely. Um, Other things could be that, the heat had baked the rocks above and kind of cracked them, and over time they fall down and shatter. So you're standing on a pile of rocks that's probably about 6 inches deep. So it is kind of rocky, kind of hard to walk along that edge there.
Okay, Trista will just keep examining the rock, wait for the others to move.
Okay. So go ahead and pass your turn if you like.
Okay. I kind of whisper to the rest of the group that Tristal must have gone mad as I notice he's licking rock. He seems pretty desperate, and I say, "Careful there, nature boy, licking those rocks. You never know what's on them." I have a question on the rocks to the to our west and the north.
Mm-hmm.
How high are those? Because I'm thinking about stealthily going up along there to scout ahead.
So probably a good 50 feet up. To climb those, you're going to need a little help. Perhaps some pythons or some rope, and then also not to mention that you have to go further into the little valley cavern to jump up onto the ledge. So there's kind of like a sweeping trail that comes around and goes lower. But then if you look at the debris, which I will point with a pointer, the best place you can determine to climb the rock are in two spots. So go ahead and roll survival, and I will show you where those are at. Okay, so from what you can tell, there's a spot here, which is a lot steeper, but it has got some footholds, and you can actually get purchase on there, and with some help and some rope and some pythons, you can climb up there. Also, the best place is here. If you get to that point, the surface is lower. As you can see, there's like a trail that kind of that arcs around, and it looks like a natural game trail from the vantage point that you're at. You see some shrubs growing up there, and if you were able to get to that spot, you will be able to notice a lot more rocks. You can climb up on the rocks there and just get a boost up, and then you'll be able to climb the rest of the way up through the trail. So that's probably about 10, 15 feet up as opposed to climbing up the sheer cliff face. So it's
Okay.
a lot shallower to the east or the west, excuse me.
I think what I'll do is I'll try to stealthily move in that direction, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to kind of zigzag.
Okay. So if you're moving stealthily, you can move 15 feet, and you must roll a stealth check, please.
Well, if I can only move 15 feet, yeah. Um, I'll just do a regular move then, and I'll, as I go by Tristal, I'll let him know that I might need a boost up in this area because I want to get some height so I can see what's there and cover him with my bow.
Okay. All right. So anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Did anyone mention that back to us about the tracks, or can we see any tracks that come in from the desert area
Good
into
question.
the cavern?
Good question.
So
Would
that's what
like
I
to.
think my squire will do is basically look around here and see. I guess maybe I should draw, like in the areas that are light, not in the shadow, as
Mm-hmm.
best I can without fully entering it and possibly springing a trap that might be beyond the rocks. See if there's any animal tracks that go into the area and out of the area. Because if animals go in and there's no tracks that face out, might not might be something happening in there.
Gotcha. Go ahead and roll a survival check, and if you're gonna move, go ahead and do so. And you're gonna move at half your movement rate because you're kind of paying attention to the sound, to the to the ground and to the surroundings.
Yep. So I'll move like over to there and basically kind of like toward like where the owl would be in that area, not crossing the barrier of the rocks there. Those
Mm-hmm.
two, if you draw a line between them, but I'll be moving around through there, kind of looking and investigating through there.
Okay. Can you roll a on your skills tab? Can you please roll a survival check?
Yep. That's what I was looking for. There we go.
Okay. So you're looking around and you do notice some small tracks that go back and forth around the rocks, in and out of the cave valley, and also up and down some of the dustier pathways. Um, Also, you notice some white looking rocks to the west, and you're not sure exactly why they're white, but they look like they're bleached from the sun. And they look like they're half submerged in the soil. And then it looks like, it may have been something a long time ago. So I need you to roll a history check.
All right. Do you want this in the tower or on the table?
You can do
I
it in the
forgot to
tower.
ask that
That's
previously.
fine. Do it in the
Okay.
tower. Okay, so from your studies, you've known that ancient cultures had inhabited this valley at one point. You are perhaps thinking that this may have been a shelter or some sort of structure where they had used this to either live or store things. You're not so sure about the water, that may be a little too far back, but nonetheless, it looks fairly well traveled, and there are remnants of hollow or squared out material. So that was made of sandstone, and that's why you don't see a whole lot of it because it's weathered away. But there is evidence that there has been man through here.
I'll go ahead and relay that to anyone who's close enough to where it won't alert anyone who may be listening in the cavern.
Okay. Anything
Not sure
else?
what type of range on the whisper. Since people had been here in the past, and I'm assuming we do see some bone remnants there. Looks, from here, kind of looks like human, maybe.
Okay. The owl is standing up, and he's sitting about 15, 20 feet up in the air at the edge on that rock. He's just watching things, and his head is turning back to the side. And he's going, "Whoo!" He's kind of making little sounds, and he looks rather sleepy, as he's not normally awake this time of the evening. His prime time comes when the sun goes down a little further. Zamas.
I think he's just going to walk straight up the middle.
Okay. Go ahead and move your token where you'd like to go. All right. So you kind of take a gander, you look around, you hear a couple small pebbles naturally roll off the edges of these cliffs. Obviously, very sensitive to vibration. As you walk closer, more and more sandy like material kind of rolls off the edges of the rocks. And you do notice some footprints in here that have been brushed over with sand and time. And you notice a pile of old bones lying to the west. They look humanoid, but that's about as much as you can tell.
Are they within sort of reaching distance?
No. You've moved to the extent of your movement, and at the last moment, you caught a glimpse of those bleached bones. They are, if you zoom into the map, I will draw a shape, and they are right there.
Radio. And then I'm just going to randomly point off into the distance up on top of it really suddenly. Just to screw with everybody else.
Okay, Tristal.
What do you see, Zamus?
Nothing. What do you mean?
Tristan turns around with a concerned look on his face and wanders toward the pile of white rock.
Okay. So he slowly makes his way over there. You traverse over a sandy, yet rocky, jutted out areas. And can you roll a history check?
Yep.
Who has Lord Gallimar?
I pulled them out since I thought it might be kind of handy to know a little about
Oh,
some
got
of
it. Okay, just check.
them. Unless you thought that would be too weird.
No, that's totally fine. I thought we had another person.
It's
Oh.
a little weird.
Okay, so Tristal, you know that this place had been used many times for human civilization. And to find these bones here is no big surprise. But what is surprising is the amount of bleaching and wear on the bones. And they were human, and it looks like they were pulled apart by something. The rib cages are shattered, the bones have been separated, and there's signs of predation also.
We should be wary. There are bones here. Creatures lurk nearby. Be on your guard.
That was the last guy who tried to eat the lichen.
Yeah. Tristal's feeling a bit funny.
You also notice that rank smell gets a little bit more noticeable coming from the caverns. It has a, I don't know, kind of a dry, decayed smell. It's not pungent like like fresh trash. Okay, Laerun.
I think he said he was going to be back in a minute. He's gone bio.
Well, we could just skip Laerun.
That's fine. I'll assume he's still kind of searching the rocks. Maybe he's trying to look for signs of food and water. Oh, there he goes. So he's moving along the edge of that rockway, and you notice that there is another pile of bones ahead, and you see Tristal examining the ones to the south. The other pile is right at the edge here. And this seems to be a little bit more. There are 2 adult humans and 1 young adult here. And then behind that are a whole bunch of bones surrounded, like somebody had discarded a mother load of bones. And they're right around that rock to the northwest. Yep. I don't hear you, Rilvas. You may have to disconnect and reconnect from Discord. Okay. So we'll give him a moment. Up next will be Centarius, so think about your move. So what do you want to do there, Centarius?
Centaurus has been a bit idle for a time, and he's hasn't really been paying attention. He's seems to be walking very, very. He's a little bit thirsty, so he's been walking very kind of
Carefully.
very carefully. His horse legs are kind of dragging the dirt, and he kind of looks down and goes, "Hey, legs, don't worry, I'll get some food for us. It's okay." Legs seem to pick up a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll kind of go forward to here, and he looks at Zamas. Zamas, you okay? And he kind of leans down. Are you okay, Zamas? Wait, I don't think the legs will let me yet, but maybe later we'll. I'll give you a. Goes a bit more forward.
Okay.
What he's going to do is just kind of wander around aimlessly.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Go ahead and pass your turn. As you're stomping, you hear this clicking sound coming from the cave. Obviously, you guys that are up front can hear it a little bit louder, but it's like this. It sounds like some form of communication, maybe. Perhaps it was something tapping along the walls. You can't really tell from here, but it did sound purposely done. It does not sound like something natural. So it was either some form of communication or perhaps something tapping on the walls inside the cave.
Trista will relay that to the rest of the group.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard it before, but definitely you know something's up. It's getting closer.
Awakens from within. Okay, Trista will take out his weapon, which I think is a quarterstaff.
Okay. Do you command your owl or anything, or do you just make him stay where he is?
Let me just work out this. I'll take out my scimitar
Mm-hmm.
and face toward the cave.
Okay.
And try to isolate the clicking. And I'll look hurriedly back over my shoulder at the rest of my group and start slowly.
How about now?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah.
All right.
And start slowly moving backwards.
Okay. Laerun, you ended your turn here, and I'll give you a chance to take an action. So we're saying you're holding your action, I guess.
Yeah, what do I see?
You see a big pile of bones to the northwest alongside that rock. So right in here, there's a huge pile of humanoid bones, and that rock is kind of like separating them, and they're piled up around that rock.
Well, I tell the guys that there's a bunch of bones up ahead, and I try to use my perception to see if I can detect anything.
Okay. You can hear the clicking sounds coming from the cave as well, and they're getting a little bit louder as time goes by.
Well, I don't have any more movement, so I'll have my my arrow ready.
Okay. So what's your trigger?
when I see something that comes out to attack us.
Okay. So go ahead and click on the ready action on your actions tab.
On my turn.
Okay. So it is the owl's turn. So where did you want the owl to fly to, Tristal?
What's its range? It's not very
He can
far.
fly 60 feet per round.
Okay, so as he backed up, Tristal indicated to Percival to fly forward to the nearest outcropping to try and get a better vantage.
Okay.
Say here.
Draw it again. I messed that up.
Okay.
Okay. So you guys see the owl. He's perched up on the cliff face there. And he kind of gives you the indication of danger. His ears are standing up on end. Can you roll a animal handling in the dice tower, and you can get a better assessment of what he's doing.
Right.
So you've seen this from him before. It is a defensive stance. He doesn't seem to want to fly in any further, and his head is going back and forth rapidly, and he hears the sound, so his ears are kind of up on end, kind of like a dog would, and he's giving you the indication there's danger ahead. He can see very well, and he has very keen hearing.
Can I relay that to rest of my members? Or
Yes.
do I have to wait till my turn?
Yeah, you can say so.
Something's coming! Get ready!
Zamas?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna walk forward and sort of scoop up a stone as I go past.
Okay.
And I want to just throw it sort of at the rocks near the start of the cave and see if the
Okay.
tapping changes.
All right. So you huck a rock. I need you to roll an athletics check in the dice tower. Okay. So you end up hucking a good sized rock. It bounces inside of the cavern. The clicking sound, it stops momentarily as the noise of the rock hits something with more substance, such as another rock, and it rolls into the cave. And then a few seconds later, the clicking sound actually sounds more rapid, so it goes into double time. So instead of click, 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 now it's going click, 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 like it really sounds like there's some movement. And you guys can actually hear more than one set of clicking now coming from the cavern.
And throwing the rock was my action, wasn't it?
Pretty much. You can do a bonus action, and you can talk, you can pull out a weapon, anything like that.
I want to ready my axe and then hide behind the druid.
Okay. You won't be able to move because your movement is pretty much done. But you can ready an action such as.
I just ready my axe. Pull
Okay.
it out.
All right. Cool. Okay. So there you go. From the cavern, out of the gloomy shadow and shade of the caverns, emerges a large insect-like creature. So I am going to. So this large ant-like thing comes out, and it starts clicking its mandibles together. So now you have figured out the source of the sound. So obviously they click their mouth together when there's danger and such. You see another one come from the cavern. He emerges, and again, more clicking as if they're talking back and forth to each other. or perhaps they're signaling more. So he comes out of the cavern, little antennae move around, and it looks like he's trying to ascertain like targets, perhaps. It's hard to tell, but these things are very strange and very large. They are pretty much man-sized ants, so they don't look very friendly. And as a matter of fact, you start to get your opinions served by the bones that are laying on the outside. Perhaps these were previous victims and they'd clean their caverns out and they pile them up outside. So that's probably where the bones came from. But it may not be. It may be left over from another predator. And yet another. So now there are 3 that have emerged from the caverns. Squire Valius, you get a sense of danger. You turn around as you're scouring the tracks. And just as you come to the conclusion that there's multiple like footprints going in and out, your adrenaline starts to kick in and you hear that clicking sound kind of speed up more rapidly. And it almost matches the beat of your heart. You're excited, you're scared, you're kind of shaking a little bit. You feel like you're going to pee your pants. And everyone else is anticipating some sort of trouble. And you look over your shoulder and your worst nightmares come true. These strange ant-like creatures have emerged from the caverns, and they match the pattern of footprints that you had discovered earlier.
As Lord Gallimar would say, the simple and direct solution is always the best path. As I pull my short bow out
Mm-hmm.
and take it and hold action. No one's fired yet. I mean,
Yeah. So if you want to target one of those guys, just hold down the left control key and click on one of them. And then on your actions tab, just double click on the attack roll with your bow, if that's what you intend to do.
I'm
Are we
gonna
sure
hold
these guys are
action.
enemies and not friends?
Yeah, that's why I'm holding off on
Okay.
firing.
All right.
I just have it knocked, ready
Okay.
to go.
All right.
But
So go ahead and click the ready action. And I'm taking it that if somebody attacks your allies, you're going to let loose.
yep.
Okay. But if it comes around to your turn and nothing happens, then you basically lose your attack.
That's okay.
Okay.
You know,
Do you want to
let's,
move? You can.
I think I'm in range at this point still.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm not, I don't think anyone is quite in my way.
Okay.
You know what? Just to make sure, though.
I think you're good for line of sight. You can squeeze one off between. There you go.
Yeah, I could go up there and just to make sure I don't accidentally wing anyone.
Yep. There you go. All right. So you guys can hear this high-pitched squealing coming from inside the cave. Something you've never heard before. It almost hurts your ears. It's a very high-pitched, like, whistle sound. I guess you guys would feel kind of like a dog would for a dog whistle. And you're not quite sure, but it sounds very large and very upset.
Do giant ants speak giant?
What do you mean?
I've got a language giant. So I just wondering if I can
You
communicate
can
with them.
certainly try. I think it's a creative way of trying to figure out how to communicate with them.
But yeah, do I need to do that on my turn, or
Yeah, preferably, but you're thinking about communicate with them. That's good to know. So Tristal, you want to move back, right?
Right.
Okay. So you've moved back. You notice your
So
owl
Trist-
is giving you the stink eye, like, don't go in there.
So Tristel's face begins to harden, and he lowers his scimitar and begins muttering strange words. And he begins molding a flaming spear in front of him.
All right.
So my intent is to cast Flaming Spear DM.
Okay.
It has a 5-foot diameter of sphere, appears in an unoccupied space of my choice within range, which I think is 60 feet,
Yep.
and lasts for the duration of 1 minute.
Okay. So, draw
So
a
can I have
circle,
a token?
or just draw a
Okay.
circle if you like
Do I
on the
hold
map.
down Alt?
You can do that, or you can just right click the arrow, and then click the circular shape, and then you just hold down the left control key and draw your circle.
Okay. I'm just change the color of my dice.
Yeah, that's helpful. Okay. So you're gonna move it where you
60
want
feet.
to. So anywhere within 60 feet.
So I'm going to move it here,
Hmm.
and as a bonus action, I can move it up to 30 feet. So do I have a bonus action, or is this like something that is particular to the flaming sphere?
I think it's particular to flaming sphere, but you can move it. You've formed it, and now you're able to move it in
Okay,
whatever
so
direction you wish.
as a bonus action, I can move the sphere and ram into a creature with it.
Yep.
And that creature has to make a saving throw against the sphere's damage, and
Okay.
that stops the sphere moving. So
Okay.
I'm going to target Ant 2.
Okay. So go ahead and move it next to the ant. I mean, it kind of is, but and then roll the drag that onto the ant, the saving throw.
How do I do that?
On your actions tab, make sure you're on combat and you're on your display as actions. And then next to your spell, there should be a dice. You just drag that onto the ant that you're trying to attack.
Okay, I see it. Yep.
Yep. And that does the saving throw. And it succeeded. So what does it say now?
Let me have a look.
It very deftly paused and backed up, and that's how it was able to avoid the initial flames.
The creature takes 2d6 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one.
Okay, so go ahead and drag the damage on him. So it did singe him. And you guys can smell that sickening smell of like burnt hair smell. So it kind of hisses in anger and freaks out. So it is not happy. And now it is angry.
Burn, wretched creature!
Anything else?
No, I'll end my turn there,
Okay.
and I'll leave the sphere where it is.
All right. So now it is basically gone to your turn, Laerun. You don't get an extra attack, but you can move. You can do a regular attack.
Can I try to use my athletics to get up that little place that I might need a boost because
Yep.
nobody's over there?
Yep.
All right.
So you can move there, and you have enough movement to get to the base of it. So then you need to move 5 feet north. Okay. And now you have 10 feet to climb, and that'll be basically the end of your movement. And your action will be to actually climb up. So you need to roll an athletics check once to get up there, and the other to pull yourself up and over the edge. So you go over there to where all the loose rocks are, and you start looking for footholds, and you start your way up. And it is a very difficult climb. You're having a very difficult time getting started. So your attempt to climb has been thwarted by the natural landscape. So you're having a difficult time climbing up. And as you put your first foot up to pull yourself up, you slip and you fall. You don't take any damage, but there are some loose rock in that area, so you're not entirely surprised. So if you have any bonus actions, you can take that, and or you can move back 5 feet.
Let's see. No, I'll just stay there and try it again my next one.
Okay. So you're trying to climb, and anything else, like pass your turn, or?
Yeah, I'll pass my turn.
Okay.
Centaurus looks around. He's a bit scared by these giant ant things, and he starts looking behind himself. But his legs seem to walk him forward.
Okay.
And he looks a bit panicked and goes, "What? What are you doing?"
And you happen to see those ants erupting out of that cave.
We need, and then Centaurus leans down, listens to his legs for a second, and goes, "We need water. We need water. We don't want to hurt you. We just need water. This is the only place. If we leave here without water, we'll die. Please let us get past." And he will raise his, he will notch an arrow, pull it back. If any of these ants come towards us, he'll fire at them.
Okay. So you yell at them like, weren't you saying you were doing it in giant, right?
Oh no, that was someone else.
Okay.
I'm doing it in Sylvan.
Oh, okay. So in Sylvan, you've cast out to these individuals. Can you please roll a persuasion check with disadvantage? So
Sure.
do the DIS and roll your persuasion check. Unfortunately, they didn't seem to take heed to whatever you were trying to say. It looks like they paused momentarily because of the new sound. They were surprised to hear the other sounds other than the sounds of battle. So they pause really briefly, and they seem to be advancing anyways.
Okay, so I will hold an action. The trigger is going to be if they even so much as move forwards.
Okay.
Pass my turn.
All right. So you have another coming out of the cave, and he is moving forward. Cost him about 10 feet of movement because he had to kind of crawl through these two guys.
So instinctively, just the arrow goes without almost him thinking about it.
Okay. So the arrow flies through and kind of flies through its legs and back into the cavern. So that was an utter miss. Now, don't forget you have a charge ability. You have to have 20 feet of space.
All right.
So if it comes down to it, you can do that once per day.
Thanks,
or once
mate.
per rest or something.
Okay, cool. Okay. Cheers.
Yep. So this one, it stops here, and it hisses, and its mandibles are clicking, and it's looking for a target. And it happens to see Zamas, because Zamas just shot the arrow at it. So
that was Centaurus who shot the arrow. Sorry.
Right, but you're right behind him, so
yes,
he's heading towards that direction. Okay, the owl, Percival, is starting to make sounds like danger, danger. It kind of has the hooting thing going on. It's trying to warn you, Tristal, that there is danger afoot.
Can I move the owl?
Yeah.
Okay. Percival, based on previous experiences, is going to fly off his outcrop and down into the back of the mouth of the cave and do a recce
Okay.
and try to see what he can see.
Okay. So go ahead and move him. Just move him. There you go. So he disappears out of your sight, and he's into the cavern. So he's actually in the cave.
Right.
And he can fly by without provoking an attack. That's one of his abilities. He can do flybys.
Correct.
Okay. So you don't know exactly where he's going, but you know he knows what he's doing. He's a very natural hunter, and he prefers the dark anyways. So that's his turn, basically. Zamas.
Right, I'm going to pull out, or Zam's going to pull out some rations out of his backpack and just sort of wave them around in front of him, go in giant. Here, boy, come on, here, boy.
All right.
Zamas really likes animals. This is the backstory.
Can you do a persuasion with a disadvantage as well? Here, boy. It doesn't look like they're taking heed to that, but nonetheless, they are still heading right towards you. At least the one is, the one that's in front.
Is that my action?
No, that is your minor action. You can interact with things. You can still
Right.
attack and you can still move. Or you got a bonus action too.
I'm going to toss a dagger at him.
Okay. So just drag the attack roll, the bomb looking symbol on your actions tab, and just drag the attack roll onto your target. I'm sorry if you guys already know what you're doing. I'm so used to instructing that.
That's okay. It's good for people listening to know how to do these things too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. Yep.
Yeah, and that's all I wanted to do for my turn.
Okay. So you threw the dagger. It missed by a little bit, and it drops aimlessly right behind all the ants. So you kind of know whereabouts it landed. Go ahead and roll a perception, and if you roll high enough, you'll know exactly where it landed. Yeah, you know exactly where it landed. You don't see it, but you know right about where it stopped. You saw a poof of dust come out of off the ground, so you know where it landed.
I can always find it, Wolf.
Yep. All right. So this ant comes moving up this way, and you can hear the mandibles clicking behind you, Laerun. And you're like, oh crap. So this thing tries to lurch forward and bite you.
How far can they move?
40 feet.
Oh my gosh.
So he definitely takes a chomp out of you. His mandibles lock around your leg, and it really hurts. He's got a hold of your leg. So you're going to have to make a contested strength check to break the hold. If you fail, you'll be restrained. So right now, he's got you grappled. He's grabbing onto you. Okay. You are now restrained. So he's got a hold of you pretty good. And now he's going to try to sting you. So once he has a hold of you, his abdomen kind of goes underneath his body, and it comes up and under and tries to sting you on your lower section of your body. Of course. You're not feeling so great. And you failed the save, of course. I think that took care of him. He is bleeding out. His leg is nearly severed. And he wasn't able to climb up the cliff in time. So that ant is really, really bad. Really mean. When it stung you, it felt like a million stings behind it. And once that poison hit you, it just knocked you out. You're not dead, but you're certainly not in good shape. Yeah, you're unconscious, so. Okay, so that is his turn. So this ant moves up, and it's heading towards you guys. It gets right there.
Is that the one near the
Yep.
spear?
You need to roll. He needs to roll a. Go ahead and roll a saving throw on it.
Okay.
And then roll damage. So he just kind of plowed right through the flames. Okay, he succeeded. Go ahead and roll damage. Ouch. So this thing is smoldering. It's got these, tendrils of smoke coming off its back. The flame is still where you left it, pretty much. You just kind of plowed right through it.
Right.
This one sees the flaming sphere, and he kind of stops in his tracks, not sure what to do. So he's going to move this way. And this away. And that'll end his turn. Squire Valius. So.
All right. So I see this guy is up to no good coming toward us. I guess I'm going to have to fire.
Yep.
So yeah, it's already wounded. So I may as well sit there and the sooner we get one down, that's one less, right?
Yep.
There we go. And
so the arrow goes flying past again and hits the back of the cavern wall. And I say again, someone else threw something at it and missed.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that oh wait. I do have action surge.
Yep. That would be another turn. Try turning the bow around. That'll do it.
Great.
Oh. The other side.
See, I can't turn my figure for some reason.
There you go. It was locked.
Yeah. That might stop me from doing things like turning. All right. So yeah. In that case, then you know what, we will. That's the end of my turn.
You can do the action surge if you want. That gives you another attack.
You know what? We'll go ahead and action surge. Sure.
All right. So go ahead
Actually,
and
no.
no.
Yeah.
You gonna
No,
wait?
let's hold that.
All right.
Yeah, let's hold that.
Okay.
All right, and
All right.
there we go.
So you guys continuously hear this screeching sound coming from the caverns, and you're not sure what it is, but it's getting a little bit louder. Tristal.
DM, if Tristal is holding a concentration spell, can he cast another spell?
Yep, as long as it's not concentration.
Okay. So my flaming sphere is around here.
Yep.
Okay. I want to. Seeing Laerun in trouble and grappled and tackled by the ant,
Yep.
and Tristal hating to see other creatures suffer, ironically, I'm going to move the sphere rapidly across the battlefield and charge it into this ant.
Okay. What is the movement on it again? Per round?
60 feet.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So go ahead and roll the saving throw and then the damage. So the sphere goes bouncing across the sand. It saves.
That's a tough.
Mm-hmm. And it takes some damage. So
how big is the flaming sphere? Is it just
5
like
feet.
5 foot? Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That 5 foot area.
So I've moved it near the ant, not
Yeah.
into contact with
Right.
Laerun. It's the last thing he needs.
Yep.
Can I move?
I was asking because it crosses the path on another ant there, just barely.
Yep. You can move. And if
Okay,
you have a
so,
bonus action, you can do that too. Well, you did your bonus action, so.
Yeah, so Tristal's just going to back up a little more to there.
Okay.
And that's his turn. Oh, he's going to look, see where his owl went.
Okay. You look up, you don't see him. He's in the back of the cave somewhere. So you haven't heard anything yet. Other than some high-pitched screeching sound. But it's not the owl.
Okay.
Okay. Laerun is basically passed out.
I make my death save.
Yep. It did it automatically. It says 19. Success.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Centaurus, things aren't looking so great.
Centaurus, he's still grappled, I guess, isn't he? The male ranger.
Mm-hmm.
The Laerun.
Yep.
He's going to. I'll tell you what I intend to do, and you can rule on it. What I'm intending to do is, he wants to run up, grab Laerun's unconscious body.
Mm-hmm.
There, grab him and try and wrestle him away and make it back.
Okay. So what that'll do is you can run up, and instead of attacking, you can basically try to break this guy's hold on Laerun and grab him and take him back.
Yeah, that's what he wants to do.
So you won't be able to attack, but you'll be able to move and try to make a strength check.
Yeah. Okay.
But you do have to worry about an opportunity attack.
Is there someone? There's no one near him. Like, have they got 10-foot reach? Have they?
They are close enough to where they
Okay.
can.
Yep, no worries. Yeah, he would do that anyway. He would be worried about his friend.
Okay.
He will try and he's trying to get him safe before he can revive.
So go ahead and move your token.
Can I jump on his back at the same time and attack with him?
Can you? You could still jump on him if you have the movement.
He will let him. Centaurus will let him.
Okay. So you've moved forward, and you are trying to unravel him from the grips of the ant. Because the ant
Yes.
is kind of trying to pull him away, but the flame kind of stopped him in his tracks. So go ahead and roll a strength check out in the open. And then
Because I'm on top of him, can I assist?
Yeah, you could actually. Go ahead and move your token over to the close to Centaurus. And go ahead and apply the help action. So on your character sheet, you have the help action. Just drag it over to Centaurus. So you guys see Zamas just kind of run up and, he's kind of running with Centaurus. He kind of pulls himself up. And Centaurus walks over, and he takes his hooves, and he tries to, push down on the ant to get it off the ranger. So there's a valiant rescue going on. And at the last moment, Zamas takes the butt of his axe and tries to thump on the mandibles to get him to break free. So you're helping Centaurus. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Better than nothing. So the ant it looks like he's still got a good grip on Laerun, but now that you guys are there, he basically drops Laerun. This ant, he comes up and he is moving towards you guys. And he's going to attack Centaurus. Ouch. That didn't feel too good. I need you to make another strength check.
In the open?
Yep. Dang it.
Right. I'm rolling like I usually roll.
Okay. This better work. Ooh. So you did not get grappled. So you managed to stay out of this thing's mandibles. But he tries to sting you with his abdomen. And missed. Thank God. Okay. The owl comes flying back, Tristal.
Right.
And in his own way, he communicates with you. He flies in circles around the mouth of the cave up above, and that tells it that there's more inside and that something's coming.
Battle has half begun. Stand your ground.
Okay, Zamas. So you took your turn basically to do the help action. If you have any bonus actions or anything like that, you can use it.
So I can't leap off of him like Centaurus is back.
You
and
can.
Onto the ant and...
You can leap off of them, but that's about it.
So do you play with the 2E rule of where if you administer the healing potion anally, it gets a bonus?
No.
You can't shelf a bonus health potion, can you?
It's not a
You can
bonus
always
action.
try. You can always try.
True.
So yeah, I can't jump off his back onto the ant's back then.
You can, actually.
I'm going to do that, and I'm going to rage first, so I get advantage on strength roll.
Okay. So go ahead and roll your strength check. Nice. You are able to maintain your hold, and now you are riding on top of the ant.
My dreams are finally coming true. Yep, that's all I'm going to do.
Okay. Very cool. So, all right. So this ant lets go of Laerun and moves towards Centaurus and makes his move on you.
So do I get an opportunity attack on him?
I don't know. I mean, you got 2 on the other side, on each side of you. If you do, it'd be at disadvantage. The reason for it, because you're not on steady ground. You're riding on top of an ant. You don't have mounted combat, so yeah, you can go ahead and take an opportunity attack and swing at him, but you'll be at disadvantage.
So which one moved towards? I'm sorry, 4.
What's that?
I'm attacking Ant 4. That's when he moved towards that Taurus, right?
Yes. You're attacking from the top of Ant 1. Okay, so you took a half swing and missed. So it's kind of difficult to swing out like that, but you tried, and it missed. So the blade just kind of swung out, and it missed.
As long as it didn't, injure my mount.
Yeah. So he's basically trying to bite Centaurus, and he missed. So that is his turn. Ant number 2 is moving up this way. And he attacks Mr. Valius. And he missed you.
Okay. All right.
Ant number 3 is moving up this way as well.
We get attacks of opportunity if they leave the
Correct.
threatened squares, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's the turn of the ants. And now it's Squire Valius.
Let's see. I am in melee combat with the target who I was trying to shoot at. That ain't gonna work too well, so I'll drop the bow and draw my sword and ready my shield.
Mm-hmm. That's basically a free action. If you're dropping your shield, you need to.
I'm not dropping the shield. I'm
okay.
equipping the shield.
Okay.
Because I had to have the shield unequipped because the bow's two-handed, right?
Yep. Zamas the Ant Rider. Yep. Hack him.
My new title.
Yeah.
And I think that's Sir Zamas the Ant Rider to you.
And so that was free actions, or does it take an action to equip the shield?
No, that's you're just interacting with an item, so it's not really a turn.
Not really an action. Okay.
No.
All right. So I will go ahead and attempt to mightily smite the ant number 2 with my sword.
All right. Get him. Yes. So you can feel that blade kind of go in between his carapace. You just crunch.
All right, and some damage.
Just drag it onto the guys. All right. So you do this little crunch, and it just kind of pisses that thing off more.
All right, and I'm gonna hold action. I got a feeling there's a big queen ant. There's a bunch of little ants. There's got to be a queen.
Oh shit. That's
Yep.
all right, Tristal. So you're watching your
Okay.
owl fly around.
Yeah.
There's
am
a
I in
fire going
range
on and he's
of-
bird watching.
I'm a nature lover. What can I say? Is Tristal in range of Ant 2? Oh, he is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He's in
so
your threat zone.
Right. So I'm not going to leave the perimeter of the ant. I'm going to move around.
Okay.
To there, following the line of the ants, and I'm going to cast Thunder Wave.
Okay.
Which is a wave of thunderous force sweeps out from Tristal, and each creature in a 15-foot cube originating from me must make a Constitution save throw.
Okay. So go ahead
I'm
and
going
draw
to-
your cube first.
Yeah, so I've abandoned the sphere.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it needs to go out in front of you.
How do I adjust it? How do I make it spin again?
You can grab it by one of the corners and it'll spin.
Yep.
Okay, cheers.
Yeah, do it like that.
Like that. Yeah.
You just can't
Yeah.
have it on you.
I like to live dangerously. No, okay, I'll move it.
There you go. So technically, that will get 1, 2. That'll even get the other two potentially.
Right.
What'll happen is if we'll see how it goes. So first target the 2 ants that are close to you.
If that's going to hit the ant that I'm on, is that also going to hit me?
Yep.
Casualty of war.
Yep.
Acceptable losses.
Yep. And then go ahead and target Zamas and the other ant. You might have to do it in the combat tracker because they're stacked.
Right. Which ant is that? Number 1 or 4?
1.
You know, 1. And target Zamas, you said? The ant rider?
Yep.
Okay. And now I do a save for all of them.
Yes. Just click it once.
So I just dragged that onto 1.
Nope. Just click it once. Okay. So Zamas succeeded. Now go ahead and roll damage. And anyone who failed, number 1 failed. So it's going to knock them back 10 feet. So that means Zamas is going to go back 10 feet. And he's going to have to make a strength check or a strength save to hold on. Okay. So now this one, number 3, succeeded. So it stays put. These guys can't be knocked prone. But it does knock them back 10 feet. And Zamas, I need you to make a strength check, please. So you are on the ant still. You didn't fall. And who else failed?
Yeehaw.
So giant ant number 2 goes back 10 feet. So you kind of knocked it.
He's leaving my threat zone.
Yep.
I'm assuming you get. Yep. I
Yep.
get an attack.
Go ahead and attack him. And
All right.
he's going to take some damage for hitting the stone wall behind him. Not a lot of damage, but a little.
Sorry, it's taking a sec for the attack to pull up for me here.
Okay. So it all happened so fast, and you missed him. And he blows backward this way and hits the rock. And he takes an additional 4 points of damage. So you blasted that guy into tomorrow. All right. Pretty good show. Anything else, Tristal?
No, Tristal's fine there.
Okay. Laerun made his second save. Centaurus.
So Centaurus he's worried about his friend Laerun. He doesn't realize that he's he thought he might be alive. He thought he might be conscious. He's shaken him a few times. He will grab with one of his hands. He grabs a potion of healing out of his backpack.
Okay.
He rolls it down his hoof. So he extends his right leg. Horsey leg out. He rolls the potion down his hoof with quite a dexterous hoof, which is in two pieces. He ends up grabbing the potion at the end of his hoof and feeds it to Laerun.
Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to roll a acrobatics check or athletics and put it in the dice tower, please. Oh, so here's the thing. You do so as if you would practice this. And go ahead and drag the effect onto Laerun for the healing effect for the potion.
Give me a second, because it's not there.
Oh, you don't have a potion.
No. It's all right. It's all good. It's all good. Give me.
Okay. So it's maybe his pockets. Yeah, that was an inspiration for sure. Yeah, go ahead and give yourself an inspiration there. That was pretty clever. And you hit me at a 20 roll.
Wow. Okay.
Now, you can, in this, since you rolled a 20, I'm going to give you an extra action.
And then as he does this, the other leg seems to kind of kick out at this ant that's there.
Okay.
He doesn't really kind of realize what's happening, but these other two legs that are near the ants kind of kick out at him.
Okay. So go ahead and use your hooves. You have an attack roll on your sheet. And you get, yes. So now roll the damage on it. And you get 2 attacks with your hooves.
All right.
So there's
He's
one.
going to kick out again.
Yeah.
You get the impression that the top half of Centaurus doesn't know what the bottom half's doing.
It's bucking like a bronco. Wow. All right. So you just kind of bounce down on him and just start smashing his carapace apart as you fed your companion the potion. All right. So ant number 1 is confused, and he's going around in circles, and now he's heading back to the nest. But he's only moving about half his movement. because he's confused about Zamas being on top.
I'll go get some reinforcement, guys. Don't worry.
Okay. So that's his turn. Okay, so the owl is still circling around, basically calling out danger.
Yeah, the owl can make an attack.
Yep.
Can I do that?
Yeah.
So,
So if you
Trista will gesture to the owl to Percival to attack the ant closest to him.
Okay. So you could dive bomb it, and he has talons. So all you have to do is drag that attack roll onto the ants. So the ATK +3 from the stat block. Just drag it onto the ant. Uh-oh.
Whoops.
So he flies down, and he kind of loses his flight, and he bounces off the carapace of the ant. So he missed. And now he is on the ground. So he's here now. Lost a couple feathers. Zamas, the ant rider. So you're still on top of the ant. You see this owl come down and try to pretty much kamikaze the ant.
Right, I'm gonna take out my hempen rope and sort of lasso around his mandibles and make some rain.
Okay. So I want you to roll survival, but being that the ant is moving and you're really not that stable, you're going to be at a disadvantage, but you can still perform the action.
And my rage doesn't do anything for survival, does it?
No. Okay. So you hook around the ant. You looped it like a lasso kind of thing, or a loop, and you try to rein it over the top of him. And now he has to beat that roll, your survival roll. Okay, so he's going to try to basically move away or move his head or his mandibles so they don't get caught. So he's going to make a dexterity save.
Does he have disadvantages? I'm on top of him.
You know, I would think he would. So let me roll again. So we're going to take the lower of the two. Why, yes. As a matter of fact, he loses his next turn, and you are able to lasso him. So now he has a restrained effect on him.
Right, well, I'm going to rip his head around to the right and sort of dig my right spur into him as well and just charge forward.
All right.
Sounds like stand right.
So you're trying to get him to go the other way, or?
Yeah, I'm going to go help my buddies.
Okay. So I need you to roll an animal handling check, even though it's really not an animal, but. Very good. So you now have him going this way. He's only going to be moving half speed because it's still kind of confused. But that is you.
Cool, and do I still have an action left?
Yep. But you have
Cool,
you have a condition of that rage, though. What does that say?
Yeah, I've got to attack something each round, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw my hand axe at giant number 3.
Okay. Oh, you roll a 1. It completely misses. You lose your balance, and now you need to make a strength save to stay on the back of the ant. You stay on.
Oh, thank God.
All right. Anything else? You do attack. I think you're. I mean, you could say something if you have any
I'm
bonus
just gonna
actions.
wave my hat in the air like a cowboy, and that'll be.
Okay.
I do have to mention I've got about 15 more minutes before I need to head off.
Okay. So, ant number 4. Again, he tries to attack Centaurus. A little bit stunned over that last attack, though. And he missed. Ant number 2 shakes off his problem that he had, and he gets himself back into position and advances. And he attacks Valius. And he missed. So Valius was able to bring a shield up in time before his mandibles reached around and grabbed him.
Huzzah!
Number 3 is basically going to attack Tristal. And it is a little shaken up from that last attack. And he missed. And he rolled a 1. So he loses his next turn. Squire Valius, it is your
All
turn.
right. So, I would like to do a stupid human trick.
Okay.
I'd like to kind of use my shield like a bit of a scoop
Okay.
and get down into the sand a bit here because it looks sandy.
Yep.
And I want to flip the sand up into the ant's eyes. Number 2.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. Let me think about that. Just go ahead and make a strength check.
You can't like roll dirty fighting skill.
He doesn't have that. This is
Yeah, I'm only level 2 anyway.
well, not only that, but you know, it doesn't really have a skill like that. Sleight of hand, maybe. I don't know. Whatever.
As I'm doing it, I'm saying, Lord Gallimar, forgive me for this dishonorable act.
Very good. So you're gonna pick up the sand and flick it with your shield. I like it.
Yep.
Okay. So you scoop up the sand, and you kind of got a few pebbles in there and whatnot, and you flick it in his face.
Oh wait, what's it? I needed to make a strength save. You say?
Strength check.
Oh, check. Okay.
You barely get under there, and you kind of flick all this stuff up in its face. Go ahead and roll a d4. Just in the open. Okay, so it does a couple points of damage to the ant, and it slows it down to the point where, let's see, it's kind of shaking itself, not really shaking, but moving its head back and forth. And
trying to clear it out.
Yeah, trying to clear it out. And its antenna seem to be all miscombobulated. And it basically just kind of stops it in its tracks. So let me see if there's a condition. I'm going to give him the old stunned. So you have stunned him
All right.
for a round.
Hoping to blind, but that's okay. Stun will work too, I guess.
Okay, Tristal.
Okay, so Tristal realizes another thunder wave would probably not be a good idea. So with the ant so close to him, he's just going to attack it with his scimitar.
Okay. Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, Tristal. He ain't playing around. Sweet. So you find a small spot in his carapace, and it connects and kind of slices into it, and you can hear it kind of hiss or squeal or whatever it does. You know, make that high-pitched scream sound. This reminds me of the movie Them. Okay, Laerun,
Oh yeah.
you are feeling a
Uh,
little better.
I'm wondering what happened because I was trying to get up to my sweet spot up there up top, and
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden I blacked out, and now I wake up and there's like grass and dirt and like a hoofy taste in my mouth for some reason. So if I get myself up from prone, will that take like half my move or something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to pick myself up.
Okay.
Here so I can get advantage on
Okay.
attack.
Okay.
Attack with my... Oh, first I'm going to use my bonus action with the Hunter's Mark.
Okay.
And then I'm going to attack the... what is it? Ant number
4. Nice. Nice. Sweet.
Forgot advantage, but it's all right.
Yeah, it basically that arrow or whatever you attacked it with. This is a short sword.
Yeah.
You found a nice spot open in its abdomen and just shoved the sword in there. A short
Okay,
blade.
I'm a little thirsty, so I'm gonna taste my sword to see if I get any if it tastes any good. Get a little of the juice, the
Okay.
ant juice.
The ant juice tastes really bitter.
Okay, but not poison.
Not necessarily. It just don't taste very good. It's very bitter.
I just say yum.
Okay, Centaurus.
Centaurus is going to. He's very like big smile on his face, and he looks at Laerun as he wanders off, and he's got this kind of happy smile on his face, and he's kind of going, "Oh, he's alive. That's really great." And his hooves strike out at the ant again without him even really knowing.
Okay. All right.
So how do you play flanking, Laerun?
I guess we're doing it with advantage. So go ahead
Right.
and click advantage before you attack. Nice.
Nice.
And again. So that's one hoof. There's the other. Oh, you took it out. You rear up and your hooves both come down and they go crashing into its abdomen and one on its head and just crush it.
So the hooves land back on the ground, looking very stoic and poised. His head looks a bit confused. He doesn't really know what's.
All right. So this ant here, he's still confused. He's just kind of.
It's actually a girl called Sarah.
Okay, Sarah's moving. Roughly about 5 or 10 feet this way. She's in range. So when it's your turn, you'll be able to do something. Potentially. Okay.
Hey, I'm not on my end.
Okay, so the owl is still on the ground. He gets up and he starts taking flight, and he kind of ends up here, and he's just waiting for Tristal, and he seems a little shaken, and he starts hooting really loud, and it echoes out of the cave, so all of you can hear that sound. So he's trying to tell you guys something's coming. Zamus, the ant rider.
Right, can I kick the ant forward so I'm in attacking distance of?
Yep.
I guess 3.
So go ahead and do an animal handling check or something like that.
Now, is that lightning thing effect still there?
Lightning.
Yeah.
No,
That,
it's gone. It's gone. The
okay.
fire. Yeah. It was a concentration spell. Okay, so you're still holding on. You're able to command it forward. You have the reins of this thing, but you're still going to be at a disadvantage to attack because you have to.
If I attack recklessly, I get advantage, don't I? So it just
So it just
cancels
cancels
out the
out.
roll.
Yep. All right. So you connect. All right. So your axe goes
that-
crashing.
Sorry, does that automatically add my rage damage as well?
Yep.
Yeah.
Riders of the Last Ant. Anything else, zombies?
Can I ask Centaurus for some help with mounted combat because he's obviously the expert?
Sure. Sure.
Centaurus's legs know how to do it, but his upper body doesn't have any idea. Yeah, he will. He says, yeah, you can, yeah, just hit shit.
Roger.
Hmm. All right. So this ant here, it's stunned, so it loses its turn. This one, number 3, I don't remember what happened to it, but I think it lost its turn as well. I'm not sure why.
It fumbled or something.
Yeah,
I
it did
believe.
something stupid, but it lost its turn. Squire Valius.
All right. Let's go ahead and sticky pokey with my short sword.
Yeah, this may be a good time to use that other attack since it's stunned.
But I hear, hey, I know that queen is coming. I'll take
Wow.
that crit.
Yeah.
So
That
3
was
nat 20s and a nat 1 for the game so far.
wow. Nice.
Yep. And I'll send the turn around.
Cool. Okay. What's going on now? Okay. So, as you suspected, a large ant-like creature, much larger than the others, comes out of the cavern. And she looks a little bit distraught. She looks really big compared to the others. She's wielding some kind of weapon. She looks sentient. And she says something in a strange language. So I am going to type it out in the chat area. So she says something. You guys aren't quite sure what she's saying, but some of you might understand what she's saying.
Can I tell them what I
Yeah.
understand?
Yep.
I tell them that big ant just said, "Hey, stop. I'm sorry about my unruly children."
She makes this high-pitched squealing sound, and all of the ants basically stop in their tracks, and they just stand at ease as if they weren't doing anything before.
Centaurus raises both of his hands and says, "Everyone, stop! They didn't mean it." And you get the impression that his body still wants to attack. But
Tristel's like, pretty sure she said you're all gonna die here today, motherfucker.
She might have, but just don't attack her for a second.
Okay. So she moves forward and she starts communicating with the ants. So basically, they have stopped their advance and they are thinking about turning around and moving back.
I'm going to attack if my ant gets stolen from me.
Okay. So Tristel, you can do what you like.
Okay, so Tristel's going to face the mouth of the cave, and
Mm-hmm.
he's going to look like he's concentrating for a minute,
Okay.
like he's thinking something through.
Okay.
Tristel relays what the giant ant queen said to all of them.
Mm-hmm. So you're reiterating what Laerun had mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And?
Stop! I think she wants to communicate.
Okay.
Sorry,
Anything else?
Just reading what Laerun was saying.
Okay.
No, so Tristel lowers hands and sheathes his weapon.
Okay. Very cool. Anything else? Want to say anything? Or...
I will cast a healing word on Laerun.
Okay. So go ahead and do that.
I've got to go now. So thank you very much for the game.
Yep. And you get your
Thanks,
ant,
Haas.
right?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
before I go, I want to give the last of my water and a healing potion to my ant.
Okay. So you got the ant. So there's your reward.
Nice.
No one's ever taken it away from me. I love Sarah so much. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
Cheers.
See you,
man.
Good to play with you,
Later.
man.
Okay. All right. So with that in mind, Os is basically riding off into the sunset with his ant. Okay, Laerun.
Okay, I'm gonna sheathe my weapon and I tell the ant queen that we'd like to take shelter in your cave, get water, and refresh ourselves, and we'll do you no harm.
She's like, excuse me? What are you guys? Why are you here?
We were lost in the desert and we were low on water, and we saw that we might be able to find some water here. So when we came in, some of your children came out and started attacking me. I was just trying to climb the cliff here.
She apologizes to you and she says they were only acting as they are told.
I understand that.
She looks at your leg and says, looks like that is going to take a while to heal. And she says, why is it that you know there's water here?
And we say, from the evidence that we see here, this used to be underwater. We see the shrubbery, being a ranger, and my druid friend here were very knowledgeable about nature and where we might find water.
Some of that did not compute to her, but she gets the idea that you guys are wise enough to know that there's water here. So she welcomes you guys to take shelter, and she will have water brought to you from her lair as a guest.
Okay. Maybe we could ask her if it'd be okay for us to kind of get in a shady place out of the sun, but maybe not in her cave.
She'll let
so to
you
speak.
camp at the mouth of the cave, and they won't bother you, and they'll bring you water.
Okay. And One other thing I might like to do is maybe investigate the bone areas. Maybe there's something useful there.
Okay. So go ahead and move your token over.
Kind of around that rock.
If you investigate long enough, you'll find a couple gold rings and, some old armor, pieces of ancient weaponry that probably isn't
Cool.
worth much, but still. And there's some coins scattered about here and there, belt buckles and earrings and necklaces and things like that.
All right, we'll pick them up if it doesn't offend the.
Nah.
I mean, it looks like they discarded them, so they don't need them anyway.
Yep. So does anybody else want to talk to the queen before we call it a night?
Yeah. So Centaurus will. He looks like he's about to charge
Mm-hmm.
the antiquarian. Then the top half of his body slaps the bottom half, and he looks at her and goes, sorry, you know what it's like when you're riding through the desert on a horse with no name, you idiot, and slaps it.
She kind of
Sorry,
nods,
sorry.
like she's trying to pretty much, go along with your story. And she says,
And then he
welcome
starts.
to the
Go on,
colony.
go on.
She says, welcome to the colony. You are welcome to stay if you refrain from attacking us.
And Centaurus does a bow, like in the top half of him, he does this bow. The legs don't look like they want to go along with it, but the top half does a bow and says, thank you.
She says there is a payment, though, that needs to be addressed.
Name it.
She looks around and she says, well, I've lost 2 of my children. What can you do in return for us? You are still welcome to stay here regardless, but before you can leave, you will need to provide me with a solution.
First, my lady.
Yes.
I would not be so bold as to ask that, although you have asked me first. He slaps his legs until the legs then bend.
Okay.
He leans down. He's almost touching the ground. Would not be so bold. But
Yes.
I will say it is of your choice. A name is name has much worth and much meaning. Your firstborn will be a queen among queens, and I would be very honoured
Okay.
to contribute to her life in some way. And he bows his head and he just leaves it down and doesn't even look at her.
Okay. So she recognizes your obedience and humbleness. So she kind of nods her head and she looks at you with a kind of a strange look. It's kind of hard to look at her in the face, but she immediately takes to what you've said and recognizes that you have some similar qualities. And she moves forward and she points to her body and then her upper half. And then she points to you as if she's recognizing that both of you have a similar condition. And she's wondering if it's related somehow. That's the message she gives you. And then she says, for the deaths of my children, it will not disappoint me if you remain while the others can leave after they've camped.
Centaurus nods. So the horses, his head is down, and he just nods solemnly, without looking at.
So our nest needs a little thinning from time to time, so it's not a great loss. But if you would be so humble as to entertain me for a while, then you will stay. You will remain while the others can leave.
And Centaurus again nods without looking at her. He's very humble now, and he just nods his head into the sand.
And she looks towards Tristal, and she says, in her own Sylvan way, she communicates to you, "Who are you, and why have you come, old man, old wise man? Who trained you in the ways of nature?"
I trained myself, dear lady. Many, many years. We have wandered here by accident. We meant no harm, though I must admit I did cast the first fireball. Therefore, perhaps it is I that should stay here with you, and you let the other go.
She's kind of very perplexed. "I will make my decision on the next day when the sun rises." And then she calls her antlings, and they start to follow her. And she's kind of basically saying, we'll deal with this later. So you guys rest, drink some water, and we even have this food for you guys. They're like globules of a kind of a sweet nectar type stuff that they make. It's basically like a fermented vegetation. It's got a mildly, I don't know if you guys like peas or not, but it kind of has that taste to it, except for it'll get you super drunk. And it's nutritional. So the ants start moving towards the cavern. These guys take up position. This one is gone. So we will conclude that here.
All right. Thanks, Laerun.
Mhm.
It was
Good
fun.
story, man.
Yep. So
Playing with everyone. Thanks.
yeah, that was kind of fun. I'd like to do this every once in a while with you guys, and I want to get more people from Oceania or more U.S. night owls, and keep this going at least once or twice a month. And
Yeah, that was good, man. Thanks for
yeah.
that.
So most of you know that this is Chris's maps.
Yeah, they're beautiful, aren't they?
hmm This is my favorite.
Uh, so I was just going to say, use one of you. I used the first one of your maps in the game the other day. Yeah, it's beautiful. They're beautiful, man. Well done.
Yes,
Great. Thanks, man. Much
I'm a big
appreciated.
fan, man.
and
I'd like
these.
to say, Laerun, it'd be kind of cool if you'd add a command, for Game Cows warehouse
A
into your
command?
Twitch channel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can set that up. Yep, I agree. Hmm. Yeah, that's a good idea. And then I have to have you guys also. We'll get the links made up so it'll be a lot easier for whoever moderates.
Sweet. So what's everyone
Oceania
else up to for the
will
day?
never forget.
That's right.
All right, I'm gonna stop the stream. Thank you guys for playing, and hopefully we can
Thanks,
play again.
Laerun.